On today's episode of the DNVR Broncos podcast, we have a lot to talk about. Alex Singleton is he's out for the season with a torn ACL. The Broncos brought in a second veteran linebacker, Zach Cunningham. Who's going to take Singleton's spot in the long term? Who's taking his spot today? What's up with the Jets? We still haven't had a chance to talk about them. Today's going to be a packed show. We're going to cap things off with our AFC West picks, and we're starting here in 30 seconds. Wow, welcome into the Toyota Lounge with the DNVR Broncos Podcast, presented by Bet365. Wow, there is so much to get to today.
Yeah,
we don't even have time to talk about all the shenanigans that just happened. Dre has been sitting in the chair.
About?
Do we have time?
No, I'm saying, what happened? What are you talking about?
Well, okay, nothing happened. We're saying nothing happened.
No, go ahead.
Todd must have gotten some great news because he's in a better mood than expected. But
good mood.
Yeah, good mood.
Cause you know what I'm saying, it's just it was placed somewhere it wasn't taken.
So good. Good. That's good news. Yeah. What kind of Celsius do you have there?
So it's crummy because I feel like somebody should pay for it, not me. So staying in the apartment right now.
Yes.
Still doing renovations on my house. So in the apartment, like right by my parking space, like there was like 4 cars broken into.
Wow.
Like somebody went down there in the garage and like was breaking into these cars, and even on my wife's car, like they drilled holes in her window but didn't like break it out. So I'm like, okay, bet I'm not gonna park under there until they get this whole thing figured out.
They're going in a
exactly. So I'll park not in the garage, upstairs, and then that's when it gets removed from its parking space, and now I had to go pick it up.
Wow.
But it's okay.
Also, those criminals must be stupid because, like, I mean, either your neighbors have some incredible cars, or like they picked the one that I would not have chosen, you know?
What do you mean?
If there was one car there worth robbing, it's probably your awesome car.
So you...
Well, you know, like, I don't think it's crazy.
They had pretty nice cars, though. They did the whole row, I think it was a good row.
You live in a nice building.
It was a good row.
Okay, good bro. Yeah. Zach is probably angry at us. Let's bring him in. He has been sitting here behind the scenes. Hey, there he is with his own AirPods, I hope, and not somebody else's.
Of course they're my own AirPods. Why would you think I'd be angry with you guys? I love seeing you guys, although apparently you guys don't love seeing me. Henry, you didn't even bring me on to say hi before the show started. I'm offended, but Todd, your haircut's looking fresh right now.
Thank you, man. I'm trying to keep it, nice and neat.
Yeah.
Trying to look good out here.
It does look good.
I don't have as many hats as Henry, so I got to, get
you need to borrow some. I got some good ones.
Every once in a while. All right.
Yeah.
No.
Is that, wait.
Just as bad as AirPods?
Sharing hats, exactly.
No, not as bad, but it's up there.
Unless it's like a gym
hat.
hat.
Todd, if it's not as bad, why don't you just put Henry's hat on right now?
Why don't you?
Show off my hair.
I can't do that.
No,
it's because it's Henry. It's Henry's hats.
Plus, I've been
makes me nervous.
Sweating, getting around. You don't want all this. Yeah.
It's all love.
Yeah. What Celsius did you choose?
Next
question's for you, Zach. Get ready.
Watermelon.
Oh, okay. I went with the peach mango green tea. Okay, Zach, what's up in West Virginia?
Well, I'm just standing here in the rolling hills, and it is as humid as it can be. It was raining this morning, so I think the Broncos are actually going to be practicing on, I guess, a side field, but it's like 50 yards below the other fields, and it is a turf field. Todd, was that there when you got here? Because you got here the very first year that all of this was built in 2014.
No, a lot of that I don't think was there. We had grass fields. They were really nice, and they were brand new, but our weight room was like inside of a tent, and where we ate was inside of a tent. I mean, it's like nice, like banquet tents, like where people have weddings, but it wasn't all like, a like fortified structure tent. Just yet. Yeah.
That's the exact same way it's still set up now.
Oh,
so
okay.
there is a big performance center, which is a building, and then next to that is a big tent like you're talking about, like for weddings. That's where the Broncos eat. And then I'm actually standing in front of the media tent right here, which is complete with porter potties right in front of it. And if you want to see outside, there's like this green, I don't even know what it is.
Grass?
It's like, No. It's like squishy and it feels like dirt. I don't know. That's what I'm standing in right now. So, I mean, the Green Brier, we are in the rolling hills of West Virginia, and that means there's big bugs, a lot of wetness, and then also like very expensive, nice hotels. So you just get it all out here in West Virginia.
It sounds like you're really enjoying your trip. Is that the case?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think tomorrow we might get some remnants of the hurricane. I think that might be coming this way. So I have a 4-hour drive tomorrow as well. So wish me luck there. I'm in a car. Todd, you probably wouldn't, and neither did I before this trip. This car like drives itself. And so let's hope it can drive itself through a rainstorm tomorrow.
Are you sure it drives itself?
I think so. I mean, it got me here pretty much driving by itself. It was pretty crazy and cool.
Dang, do you have to sit in the front seat, or can you just sit in the passenger seat and never have to touch the wheel?
Oh man, no, it beeps at you if you don't touch the wheel, and
Okay.
So I can't just like take a nap in the backseat. That would be something else. But yeah, no. So the Broncos, they practice today, they practice tomorrow, then they take off to New Jersey right after practice tomorrow. And I mean, they're taking off. They don't have a 4-hour drive. They take off from the local airport that's just about 10 minutes away from here. And apparently, when the Broncos got here, they got in a bus to drive to the Greenbrier. They turn the corner, and the first thing that they see when they turn the corner is a guy with his shirt off playing a banjo. And that was just like the classic West Virginia welcoming for the Broncos on this trip.
Wow, is that like the traditional? That's what they do with their guests.
That's how they welcome you here, I guess.
Wow.
Exactly.
Alex Singleton tore his ACL. What do we know about what's going to happen at linebacker now?
Well, it's a great question, and the Broncos are in a really tough position there, even before Alex Singleton tore his ACL. In fact, even a couple of weeks ago, Sean Payton openly admitted that the Broncos, even after they set their 53-man roster, they were still looking for more help at inside linebacker. They did not like the completed room that they had, so they were bringing guys in, testing guys out like Christian Welch. Maybe they gave Todd a call and he just didn't call him back. But now the Broncos are really in a tough hole because the Broncos had one really good inside linebacker, and that was Alex Singleton. Then they were kind of trying to find the next guy. Once they brought Christian Welch in, he was playing just a couple of days after they brought him in, which just tells you how they feel about Cody Barton, how they feel about Justin Sternad, in terms of they wanted other people in to help out with this room. Now they bring in Zach Cunningham yesterday. He was actually at practice yesterday along with Kwon Alexander. So I think for this week, you got to go with the guy that's already been on your team. And that's probably a combination of Christian Welch and Cody Barton. But moving forward, I think everyone that's on this team is going to play inside linebacker. And that's not the best thing because they're just going to be rotating in and out probably the rest of the season. I mean, guys, outside of the Pat Surtain, this is probably the worst blow. Maybe Zach Allen as well. This is probably the worst blow that they could have had on defense.
Yeah, this is really tough for the team. I mean, your inside linebacker is supposed to be your quarterback on defense. And not only does he get everybody lined up, he wears the green dot, he makes all the calls, makes all the checks, but he also is one of the best players on defense and makes a lot of, touchdown-saving tackles and big tackles. Played a whole game with his ACL torn, so that shows how tough he is. I think it's going to be a huge loss for the Broncos. Only thing I'm worried about is too much rotation. I don't want them to have too much rotation. Are you able to watch practice? Are you able to talk about practice? Can you tell us that who was maybe, taking some reps yesterday? Or are you, what I'm saying, that's secret? I haven't been in the media too long, so I don't know exactly what you guys can and can't say. I'm going to say whatever I want, but what you guys can and can't say,
Yeah, well, there might be some, there's a cop back there. He might be listening, and if I say anything wrong, he might take me out because Sean Payton likes it to be as secretive as possible. So not allowed to say that, but Todd, like I mentioned earlier, I think there's going to be a ton of rotation, and I know that's not ideal, but I think that is what is going to happen. Unfortunately, again, he was the guy that just could not be easily replaced, and now he has to be replaced. And one more thing is you can tell from his teammates just how big of an injury this is, because they are truly bummed. And, it's always next man up. But for Alex's injury, it's beyond that. And you can tell from the offensive guys to the defensive guys being out here that the vibe is really down and mellow after this injury.
You definitely don't want your football team to be mellow.
Slackers!
Do you have a friend out there, Zach?
Oh yeah, we're making our way to practice right now, so I might have to go soon. But yeah, speaking of mellow, it's not mellow with the media. We're ready to rock and roll.
Oh, good. I'm glad you guys are fired up.
I should have said not mellow, melancholy. There we go.
Oh, okay, good, because you don't want a football team to be mellow. Did we find out how to say Tyler B's name yesterday?
Yeah, it was just like I told you, and you refused to listen to me, Bidet. And it's just exactly the story that I told you, and you refused to listen to me, Henry. He changed his name a week ago, and he decided to change his name to the pronunciation of Bidet. He said there's some family stuff going on that he didn't want to get into right now. He said he'll tell the story in the future, but he just wants to focus on football. But it was pronounced Beatty, like we thought, and he decided to change his name for family reasons to Bidet. So it's Tyler Bidet. Get used to it, because that's what it is.
Interesting.
Very
and now I'm
interesting.
very interested at what's going on, because my thought, I know this is not happening, but like if you like have like a similar name as like a serial killer or something, then you gotta like switch it up so people don't mistake you for,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Or it's like if your name is Jesus, you better go by Jesus, You don't want to go by Jesus, otherwise you're really stealing the shine. But it also reminds
I'd
me,
love to go by Jesus.
there's somebody at the company who has, I don't know if this is a public story, his father calls him one thing, his mother calls him another thing, like in terms of the pronunciation. And so then he doesn't really know which one to go with.
Maybe that's
I can tell you it's not me.
Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, it's Zach. What, does your mom call you
Toad?
Zake?
It's
No.
Toad and
No, it's
Todd?
not Toad.
Nobody's ever called me. Well, people have called me that, but that's not my name. But Zach, what's up?
Oh,
How's
it actually could be Henry. It could be Henry and Hank.
Oh, wow, it
Yeah.
actually could. It's not. I would have just told the story of first person, but no, it could be.
Well, Zach, last question. How's the offense looking there? Are they feeling like they're picking up momentum from last week? I know the team as a whole is a little bit melancholy, but we need that offense clicking again. Does it feel like they're have a pep in their step and some energy to them?
It does, Todd. And I really do think that this break in West Virginia couldn't have come at a better time. You can really feel these guys coming together even more, especially on offense, and that is going to be so key with Bo leading the way. And I feel like this truly came at the perfect time, especially getting that win. So I expect the offense to actually continue to pick up where it left off last week. Now, I don't think they're going to score more points than they did last week. But guys, little teaser here. I think the Broncos are going to win this game, and I think this is an incredibly difficult game. But I think being out here is really going to bring them together. I'm going with the 17-16 win. I almost flipped my prediction to have the Jets win this game after Singleton, because I do think he is that big of a piece to this team. But I'm going to stay optimistic and go with the Broncos win here. But when it comes to the Singleton injury, I think this is a huge loss for the team for the rest of the season. They just don't have anyone to replace him, unfortunately. So Alex is a great player and huge for the team, and it's a big blow. But I'm gonna stay positive and say the Broncos get to 2-2 after Sunday.
Wow. Well, we'll let you get out of here. Come back soon, though, because things are falling apart. Todd's car's going missing. I scheduled the tweet for the show for the wrong day, and I mean, things are falling apart here. So hurry up and get back.
Okay, well, thanks, guys. I'm on a falling apart road right now, so wish me luck.
Wow. We wish you luck. All right. There's Zac Stevens. We have a lot to talk about. We got to obviously dig into the Alex Singleton move, bringing in Zach Cunningham as well, a second veteran linebacker. First, though, got to shout out our friends over at Raising Cane's. I could really go for some Raising Cane's. I was talking yesterday about my plans for Saturday with the Coors Lights. But I was looking through the college football schedule this season, or for this weekend, and you get to pick like 3 games at a time, basically.
Yep.
You get to pick like 10 at 3 or at 10 a.m., 3 at 10 a.m., like 3 at 1, 3 at 5, and then you just kind of build your day out. And all of that sounds so much better with a whole bunch of Raising Cane's. It's just such a great food. They keep it pretty simple for you. You get the chicken fingers, you get the fries, the crinkle cut fries, of course, the buttery Texas toast, and then the coleslaw, secret cane sauce. I love Raising Cane's. I haven't been there in too long, and I think that maybe that's going to be the plan on Saturdays, to make a quick little Cane's run and start the day off right. You can find your local Raising Cane's location or order on the mobile app or just online. And for cook-to-order hand-battered chicken fingers, race into Raising Cane's, turbocharge your chicken fingers, get them even faster by ordering online at raisingcanes.com or through their mobile app. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
A shout out to Westera Credit Union. They were founded in 1934 here in Colorado with 9 locations in the Denver metro area. They're all about helping members financially prosper, and education is their thing. They were started by a group of 8 school teachers, so helping others is in their DNA. It's all about the local community with these guys. Their smart money checking account is awesome for those who want to make small balances earn big returns. You can earn up to 6% annually on your first $2,000 each month. That's over $120 a year. In addition to the interest you earn, this account also comes with a reward debit card, has no monthly or maintenance fees, and so much more. If you like earning more by doing the things you're already doing with your checking account, visit westeracu.com/smart money for more details.
All right. Back in the DNVR Broncos podcast presented by Bet365. We mentioned this before, but Alex Singleton tore his ACL. First of all, pretty crazy that he tore his ACL on Brandon Jones's interception in the first quarter.
Oh, wow.
Played the rest of the game. Didn't even realize that it was as bad as it was, and then found out, I think they said at dinner the next night, that it was torn and that was the end of his season. That's crazy to play almost an entire game on a torn ACL.
Yeah, that's because you usually lose a lot of strength when you tear your ACL. Like some guys don't feel it, or they feel like a little pop. But most of the time, like, you can't run the same. You don't have the power. So for him to rack up, I think 10 tackles and play, another 4 quarters, like, he was really pushing and working hard for the team.
Totally. So we talked a lot yesterday about Kwon Alexander. Mentioned that he would make sense as kind of a veteran backup option in case you didn't have Alex Singleton. That was kind of the role that made the most sense for him. We didn't know at the time, obviously, that Alex wasn't playing. Then yesterday, after the show, they brought in Zach Cunningham. The linebacker started out for the Texans, put up 164 tackles in one season there. That was the most in the NFL that year, 2020. Then went to Tennessee, went to Philly. I think has had a couple injury things the past few years. Not as extensive of an injury history as Kwon Alexander's. Back in his day, a really good linebacker. At this point, there's probably a reason he was sitting out there on the market, but the Broncos in the past few days have brought in the 2 best linebackers that are available on the open market. So I'm curious to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of different styles between the 2 guys. I think Cunningham's a bigger dude. But I'm very interested to see how it all works out. I expect that they give, Cody or Welch or Stranad a chance before they kind of give the role over to one of these veteran guys. So I really think it's not kind of their job to lose right now. So I'm excited to see how they play. I want them to play well. And I think they have enough talent to get the job done without needing one of these guys. Now, if one of these guys comes up and is just all world and we can't, not have them on the field, okay, let's put them on the field. But I really feel like this linebacker unit as a whole is good enough to play and win games and not be, the worst part of the defense.
Yeah, and honestly, I think there's a chance it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like when I just look around, Kwon Alexander, when he played last year, he looked really good. Justin Strnad, what we saw from him in the preseason, he looked really good. Even going down to Lavelle Bailey, who we loved during training camp, who made the initial 53-man roster and gets swapped out for Christian Welch pretty quickly. I mean, they have a bunch of guys who I'm really excited to see. I'm curious this week, though. Can you play Kwon Alexander this week? Or, like, can you play Zach Cunningham this week? Or do you have to go with a Sternad or Cody Barton or somebody who's been in the system for months at the very least?
Yeah, I would probably go with somebody that's been in the system. But can you? Yeah, you can. I mean, you see they played Welch's first week.
They did.
He'd only been here for a short period of time. I mean, it's all about how fast guys get the playbook down. The faster you get the playbook, the faster you're able to play and show what you can do. So they definitely can play these guys, but I think this is a game where you have a lot less penny, one linebacker personnel packages, a lot more nickel, a little bit of dime. Make it feel as simple as you can for the guys because you still have to put together a good game plan.
Yep.
You can't go simple against Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he'll tear it up just because he's so good at diagnosing defenses. So you still want to have variety to your defense. And for that reason as well, I don't think throwing a new guy in there trying to still have a little bit of variety and not be super simple is the best thing to do. So I look to see more two linebacker sets, probably Cody and Welch. It's tough because they play the same position, so it really would be like Cody and Sternad or Welch and Sternad. So I'm interested to see how it works out.
Yeah, and there's the short-term questions. How do you survive this week? Then how do you survive like the next month or so? What's your best combination? Also, I think that we talked about this when Mike McGlinchey went down a little bit. Is the idea that while it really sucks to not have Mike McGlinchey, it sucks for him, it sucks for the team. You're probably getting worse without him.
Yep.
Sometimes that happens in the NFL, and sometimes it leads to good things because you get to play a young player who otherwise you wouldn't have gotten to see. And last week, Alex Palshevsky played pretty well. I think that that's encouraging. Quinn Miners got his start because of injuries. Last year, Jaquan because Kayvon Williams. There we go. I was really struggling with that name. I was thinking it Kayvon Webster there for a second. But so he was hurt. You have PJ Locke because Kareem wasn't able to play. Like sometimes this is the opportunity you need. And there's a part of me that would be a little bit upset if we go the rest of the season and see a lot of Kwon Alexander and Zach Cunningham. Because while I really like them as players and what they've done in the past, I want to see what Lavelle Bailey can do. I want to see what Justin Sternad can do because in the small sample sizes we've seen from both of those guys, they've looked like future NFL players, future NFL starters. And I think that the easy way to go about this is probably to say, hey, we got to save the season right now. We need to win this week. We go out there, we play the veterans, let them not make mistakes, play clean football, make a couple plays, hopefully. But if a month or two down the line, things aren't going well, the Broncos are out of the playoff race, that's when there's no excuse to not have Sternad out there and to not have a Lavelle Bailey out there.
Yeah. I definitely agree. It does suck because these guys aren't depth players. Like, they're not guys that fill your roster. Like, these are potential starters, and that's why you bring them in. That's why they wouldn't got like you said, the two best linebackers on the open market right now is because they're trying to find somebody who can come in there and start. Sean talked about it kind of since training camp. They were trying to find another guy. They still wanted one more body. So I think they brought them in there to try and be starters, which automatically puts them ahead of a young rookie and a special teams guy. Like, unfortunately, I think in their eyes, but they're gonna get a shot.
Yeah, and I'm curious. There's just so much at play here in this linebacker room, just because it's so unpredictable. First of all, you would love to have a Josie Jewell right now. Boy, would that make things.
That would be nice.
That'd be nice. But Alex Singleton, for as much as we love him and as well as he's played throughout his time in Denver, his contract isn't guaranteed next year. And when you're a player, I think he's 31 now. If you're a 31-year-old coming off a torn ACL, going into a season where your contract isn't guaranteed, like, that's a bad combination. And there's probably, if things go poorly for him, there's probably some sort of injury settlement because he probably won't be recovered until at least September anyway. You would think a year at least. The point is, even that spot, when you just look long term, isn't totally solidified anymore. Could Kwon Alexander, as a 30-year-old right now, play well enough that you bring him back?
You mean a 30-year-old coming off ACL?
Exactly, and that's the thing is that like you've got one of him, Cunningham. Basically, I think Cunningham's 29, but basically the same thing. As much as we love again Lavelle Bailey, Justin Sternad, they haven't like proven to be the guys. There are so many things that could happen this season.
Yeah, I think you bring Alex back no matter what, though. I think that 31 is definitely not old, and he was playing.
Speaking as a 32-year-old?
Yes.
Yes.
He was playing his best football this year. I think last year he had a great year overall, but I think he off to a slow start last year.
Yep.
I think this year he hit the ground running, making plays.
Yep. I mean, second play of the season's an interception, right?
Come on.
Yeah.
So I think that you bring him back no matter what. Even if it's for a one-year deal, you don't lose him and who he was as a player. For, like you said, guys that haven't proven themselves yet.
Totally.
And nobody has given you the opportunity yet. And I think that as we look at this team, there's a lot of other pieces that we still need to be successful. And I would like to have linebacker not be one for at least one more year.
Yep.
And we can get some other things figured out and kind of, fill in where we need at linebacker after we've gotten some more like dynamic pieces, big boys, some stuff that we need right now.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. We're doing the draft pod. Not you, Todd. I didn't sign you up for something you don't know about. But
cool, appreciate it.
In like an hour from now, 11:30, and that's kind of the big question is, if you're picking in the middle of the first round, like where do you go with this team? Because you can justify just about any spot on the roster right now. So stay tuned for that conversation. But I think there's a world in which you have Kwon Alexander and Alex Singleton as your starting linebackers next year, and they're really, really good. Like I think that's one of the universes we could find ourselves in. I think there's a chance that it's Justin Sternad and it's Lavelle Bailey, and they play really well. So I think, again, so much is up in the air, and there's just so many decisions that these coaches need to make. First of all, as of right now, you're just trying to patch the problem. You're trying to win games. You do whatever's best to winning games. But even that, does that mean, again, you play a couple guys who just joined the roster because they have so much experience? Do you give Justin Sternad his first real NFL opportunity? And then from there, I mean, next week, now that those guys are in the system, do you make changes from there? Long term, end of the year, when do you start trying to get a guy like Lavelle Bailey on the field? So I think this might be the most difficult spot the coaches have to manage over the course of the rest of the season. I think maybe it has been since the start of the year when they signed Christian Welch and throw him on the field in his first week with the team.
Yeah, I agree. And you talk about William had brought up Drew as well. I think Drew is another piece that could play inside linebacker. Unfortunately, he's been injured, and also he hasn't been in the linebacker room. He's been more so in the outside linebacker room. So it's just a different language, different alignment, it's time and a technique that you have to continue to work on if you want to be great in this league. And I don't think it's something you can just flip back and forth from. So if Drew is going to be an inside linebacker, they got to make him an inside linebacker now and have him learn everything he needs to learn so he can be great.
Yeah. No, it's a crazy time. It did cross my mind. If you're signing a 30-year-old, a 29-year-old, you're only 32. Not that big of a difference. You literally coached these guys. Like you coached this position group, so you'd know the defense too.
They have my number.
Yeah.
I have some stories to tell you at one point. I can't tell them now, but
Okay. We'll get to those at some point.
It was fun.
Okay. All right. Before we get into building the game plan against the Jets, figuring out how you actually go and win this game this week, got to give a shout out to our friends at Game Time. If you're trying to get to this game, I'm curious what the ticket prices are going to look like. I haven't checked.
Check on Game Time.
Yeah, I know.
Right now for the people.
I'm curious.
Show them how easy it is.
They've got to be pretty expensive this week, I would imagine, right? Just because, it's Aaron Rodgers and it's Jets fans. It's a big market. A lot of people would want to go to those games. Broncos fans travel well. Ooh, only 90. Wait, let me double check this. 134 to get in the door. It's not bad. Not bad at all. If you want to get down there, let's see, visitor sideline, 12th row, 334, right behind the Broncos bench. That's
334. That's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all. Again, that's one of their super deals over there. Game Time has a whole bunch of awesome deals. They highlight the best options that they have. They give you discounts And again, the Game Time picks, that's where you want to go for these best deals that are out there. Again, that's where we go to buy our tickets. I haven't actually gone to anything recently. Thinking I might need to get to a Rockies game in the next couple days because Charlie Blackmon's retiring, which is sad. It's crazy. He's played for the Rockies since I was in middle school.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 38. It's pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, so I'll be using Game Time for that. If you guys want to use Game Time, you can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. You download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code DNVR, get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time.
Yes. And right now, UC Health is having their Ready, Set, Coach Challenge. And the Ready, Set, Coach Challenge is all about getting Colorado back to its rightful place as the healthiest state. And they have brought Coach Prime along as the Chief Motivation Officer for their Ready, Set, Coach Challenge. One of his personas in the challenge is named Sleep Prime. Sleep Prime says when he gets 8 hours of sleep, he is so ready, set, co. It's dreamy. Sleep is a key part of our overall health, and we need to prioritize getting 8 hours a night. A lot of things happen while you sleep, from physical well-being to neurological benefits. It's one of the main ways to get and keep yourself healthy. Don't sleep on sleep. 8 hours is the magic number. Make a good night's sleep a priority. Put your phone down when you go to bed. Try guided sleep apps. Plan your bedtime based on your wake-up time, and make sure you get enough time in bed. If you want to join UC Health Ready, Set, Co Challenge, click the link in the show notes or go to uchealth.org/Ready, Set, Co.
All right, back into the DNVR Broncos podcast presented by Bet365. Broncos play the Jets this week. First of all, what are the Jets to you? Are they like
They're
one
a football
of the
team.
Oh, okay. You're not thinking of the Plains. Okay, we're on the same page there. Are they one of the league Super Bowl contenders? Are they bottom of the barrel? Where do they kind of fit into the NFL right now?
No, for me, I feel like they're bottom top tier. So I would say they're in the top third of the league, but the bottom of it.
Okay.
They have a really talented quarterback that has been to Super Bowls, 4-time MVP. So I think it's a matter of time before he figures it out, coming back from an injury. If he can figure it out, I think they could be playoff contender, kind of make a run to Super Bowl. Not a Super Bowl winning team, but definitely somebody that makes a little bit of a run in the playoffs. But it's all depending on the quarterback.
Yeah, I think I'm in about the same spot. I think the big thing is their floor is just so high because their defense is good.
Yeah.
Is it top 10? Maybe it's right around that conversation, They have a quarterback, so they won't have those crazy blow up games that sometimes bad teams have, where the quarterback just puts them in a hole at the beginning. They're gonna play good, clean football.
Yep.
They're not gonna make mistakes. They're not gonna give you anything easy. And when push comes to shove, Aaron Rodgers can go out there and make a couple plays at the end of the game or end of the half, third downs that just can kind of get them over the top.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're an incredible team, that they're insurmountable. You're not playing the Bills or the even the Ravens, for as poorly as they've played. They're just some teams that have particular challenges that they provide, where I don't think the Jets have that. I don't think that there's any one thing that they do so well that you're I just don't know how you stop that.
No, I wouldn't say that. But I feel like they have some pieces. They have key pieces that you would want. I mean, Tyron Smith is their left tackle. Breece Hall is their running back. Garrett, Wilson is their wide receiver. Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback. They have pieces that you would want if you're building a really good team. And if Garrett Wilson's having a day, he could easily go for 130. If Breece Hall is having a day, he could run for 150, 160. So it's just all about putting it together for the Jets. I just don't think they can do that game in and game out right now, which is good for us.
Yep.
We don't need them to have figured it out and be running on all cylinders.
Totally. What's the first thing you've got to stop if you're the Broncos defense?
The run. You got to stop the run.
Yep.
Because if you let Breece Hall get started, he's going to have a good day on you. And last time we played them, I don't think we did too well against the run. So I think it's very important, for us to stop the run first. And then we have to find a way to stop Garrett Wilson. I think you match him up with Pat like we've been doing every number one receiver. But the run game, I think we have to stop that.
Yep. I think I'm right there with you. Morgan Moses, the right tackle, veteran right tackle, he got hurt in that last game. Monday Night Football, I believe. No, Thursday Night Football. That's what we were watching. Olufushanu is probably the backup. So we talked about him a lot in the offseason, the massive tackle, still only 21 from Penn State, first-round draft pick. I think that's going to be a lot of fun to watch because I'm pretty sure this will be his first real NFL action. And, again, it's not like he's going up against Von Miller this week, but, you know, how does a Nick Benito fare against a rookie, a very talented rookie, but a rookie nonetheless?
I think it would be time to eat. I think if he was good enough to start, he would be starting.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's still a rookie and we can get some, some big plays off him.
Yep, yeah. I agree. And then in the passing game, Garrett Wilson is by far their biggest threat.
For sure.
He's a great receiver, former first-round pick, has lived up to the hype, all that sort of stuff. And typically when a team has a guy like that, you say, we'll put Pat Surtain on him, take him out of the game. The Jets' other receivers are Mike Williams and Allen Lazard, two really big receivers.
Yep.
I think it'd be tempting to put Pat on one of them, especially considering that he's played against Mike Williams so many times and has shut him down over and over and over and over. But I mean, there's a reason for that. It's because Mike Williams isn't as talented as a Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. I think it is tough because I think Riley has been playing really well. So you are not as afraid of different matchups as you once were. But then also, like, I know Garrett Wilson is their top receiver, but I think Allen Lazard is Aaron Rodgers' favorite receiver.
Yeah.
So, if they can get the ball rolling and they, get on the same page, Allen Lazard is kind of more of a threat at times than Garrett Wilson could be. So it's interesting, and I think there is a way to find the right matchups, and I think it does include locking Pat on Garrett sometimes.
Yep.
And being able to, have him be a versatile piece, and that's not, locked in this game. So it's a good task for this Broncos secondary. How will Brandon Jones fare, playing one-on-one against somebody in the slot? I think it's a good test for this Broncos DB room.
Yeah, I mean, there are decisions that Vance Joseph will need to make. And I'm curious what he's going to choose. And I think maybe for the first time this season, we won't see Pat just glued to the number one receiver for the other team. We're going to see maybe he goes back to just playing one side of the field. Maybe it just depends on the play where they put him. I'd imagine we'll see a lot of him against Garrett Wilson just because that's best on best. But, it's up to Vance Joseph to kind of decide how much you're doing that, whether you're worried about the size mismatches with Jaquan McMillan and Riley Moss on those other two. I'm curious to see what he comes up with. I think offensively, the other big story with the Jets is that, we talked about this a little bit before, but they used a lot of play action. They obviously have done that a bunch in the past. Aaron Rodgers has done that a bunch in the past, but, last week against the Jets, that was kind of the combination. You run with Breece Hall, you run the bootleg off of it. How do you stop the play action as a defense?
You just have to be good at recognizing elephants on parade. If they're not able to get everybody to take 3 or 4 steps up, and you're able to sit back and catch the routes coming to you instead of trying to turn and find and get the guy coming across into your zone, it's a lot easier to be on bootlegs, waggles, things like that. And it's not as threatening when you have a good feel for real run versus play action pass. But that's always been huge for Aaron Rodgers, play action pass and hard count. He's the king of hard count. He's going to hard count you 1 time, 2 times, maybe 3 times. You jump off sides, free play, he's going to take a shot downfield. So I think those 2 areas are going to be huge for the Broncos, play action pass and being able to stay in their stance during his hard counts.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about those hard counts, but you're totally right. And, I mean, we've seen the Broncos jump a couple times.
Yeah.
I mean, the most notable being the end of the Seahawks game when Baron Browning jumped and negated a 3rd down stop that would have gotten the ball back for the Broncos. So that's a good one to watch. I'm also curious, Kwon Alexander, I mean, he played for the Jets last season. So could that speed up his ability to take the field for the Broncos? Yeah, exactly.
No, I say no. Just because even if you know what the other team is doing, if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing yet, I don't think you can be out there on the field. So he could have a good feel for Aaron Rodgers and the team and Breece Hall and what they like to run, but he still has to get a good grasp of what he's doing on defense, his alignment, his assignment, his technique. And I don't know. I haven't talked to many guys about how he's progressing yet, so I don't know where he is in that field. But I would always say that your understanding of where you're at now trumps what you know about the team you were just with.
Yeah, I agree. I also think the more I think about this, the more I'd be tempted just to play Kwon this week. Because I think that this might be a week where you can be a little bit simple on defense. Just because it's not like you're going to be fooling Aaron Rodgers anyway. It'd be one thing if it's Zach Wilson playing for, no offense, but he was the last quarterback before Aaron Rodgers. That's where you might want to disguise some coverages, make things a little bit tricky for the young guy. But
I think just because he's good, we don't not disguise. Like I think we have to do more to disguise. Like when I broke down that play last week where they were in cover 2, but Pat looked like he was in man-to-man and everybody adjusted the play. Like that's what you have to do against Aaron Rodgers, because if you sit back there in a single high, like
that is true.
It's worse. You make it worse for yourself because then he's just going to pick you apart because he knows exactly where to go with the football.
It feels like the Jets' offense is really simple right now, though. Like it's just so much bootleg. It's so much running. You put Kwon Alexander out there, who's defended so many he'll know if it's play action is far quicker than any of the young guys who've hardly seen the field. You're not going to catch him biting on the run fakes. Like that stuff just might outweigh the fact that he hasn't spent much time in the defense.
But what is he doing in the calls, though? Is it simple calls for him to? Because I mean,
it'd have to be.
If you make simple calls and you just say, okay, we're just playing true cover 1. Okay, they're running a bootleg and Kwon might be on his guy, but you also now have Garrett Wilson and Riley Moss one-on-one if we're not having Pat travel. Like, as a defensive coordinator, you got to take all this into account when you're plugging a new guy in or you're putting the defense in. Like, just because we make it simple for one new guy, it may make everybody else's job tougher, and we have to balance, like, how we're going to do that.
There are also so many times, though, where, like last week, again, I watched that entire game because it's Thursday Night Football, the Jets and the Patriots.
Yep.
And for what it's worth, I mean, the Jets blew them up. They were not all that impressive before. 24-17 win against Tennessee. Congrats. Got blown out by the 49ers in week 1. That's why I'm not totally convinced this is a great team. But you watched last week, those play actions, they're just getting Conklin or whoever wide open across the middle. And there's, Conklin?
Yeah, I played with him in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah,
Good
of course.
dude.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's always crazy when that happens. But yeah, I think just having a presence from a guy who's been in the NFL, has been in these sorts of games over and over and over, versus having guys who might just be biting on stuff or not realizing what's happening. I'm all in on Kwon this week.
Well, everybody has a preference, and I think that's yours.
Yep.
But I don't know. I don't know what the best case scenario is, but for me, I would probably go with somebody that's been in the system, and I would run more than just cover 3, cover 1, cover 2. I'm going to put in some different plays. I'm going to find a way to get to penny out of two linebacker sets. I'm going to find a way to have Cody rushing if I don't want him in coverage. I'm going to find I will find these different caveats instead of plugging the new guy in.
Yep, I think that's fair. And now that I might go Sternad. I just want to see him play so badly. I remember that preseason game. Okay, we didn't leave much time for this, but Jets defense. It's kind of been the same thing for a while.
Yeah.
They lose Hassan Reddick, but they're really big in the front 7, really strong in the front 7. Secondary, obviously, you have Sauce Gardner.
Yep.
You throw in DJ Reed. They just gave the big contract to their nickel guy, Michael Carter. I don't look at that defense though and say there's anything in particular that you need to change about your game plan. You maybe stay away from Sauce a little bit, but I don't think there's really a weakness that needs to be exposed or a strength other than Sauce that you need to avoid.
All right. Well, Sauce is a good corner. DJ Reed was solid all last year.
He was.
CJ Mosley, top tier linebacker,
He's
probably
good.
top 5.
I wonder. I gotta check these.
Quentin Williams, top 5 interior D-line. I think they're pretty solid all the way around. We talk about the 49ers. They lost to the 49ers, but it was week 1.
Yep.
Week 1 for everybody, so nobody's playing their best football.
Yep.
Also, the 49ers are going to throw 70 different plays at you in one game that you got to adapt to. So it's probably the toughest team to prepare for week 1. So I think that the last two performances they've had have been really solid performances by their defense. So I think this is a good defense, man. I don't think this is something that we can just kind of like look over and be like, we can go in there and do 5-yard routes and try to make it work. I think they're going to make it hard to get the ball to Cortland, put sauce on them, and then just that's going to be a good matchup, and put DJ Reed on Reynolds and see how we do. I think that's kind of their mindset, and I think if their interior pieces right now, Quentin Williams versus Quinn Miners will be a very good matchup.
Yeah. It was last year. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And not Wattenberg. We want him on. We got to find a way to book.
Double teams.
Yeah, double teams.
CJ Mosley questionable for this week. So, again, you never want to hope a guy's hurt.
Yes.
But boy, would that make a difference. Let's start with our Broncos predictions. I know. No. No, that was very smart of you here. What do you think is going to happen this week?
Man, it sucks when you don't vote the Broncos way. And last week I was wrong, and I voted for the Bucks. But unfortunately, I'm probably gonna go with the Jets. I think my boy Alex Singleton was too much of a piece to lose in this week, and we want to talk about momentum and getting the ball rolling and really making a change that can affect the whole season. Well, that doesn't help when you lose one of your best players on defense. A captain.
Yeah.
Green dot.
Yep.
Who's going to wear that? I'd probably say PJ, because he's going to be in there every play. More so than like the new linebacker coming in. But it could be Cody as well.
I think it definitely could be. That'd be my bet.
But I say all that to say, I think the Jets will probably get the win this week. And I think their defense is a lot better than the Bucs defense we played last week, and I think is more similar to the defenses we played the week before. So I'm going to say the Broncos are able to score 20 points, so they have a good day offensively overall. But I think the Jets are going to score just a little bit more, and I'll probably say 28.
Yep. I agree with everything you said, especially about that momentum. I mean, that's what this week was supposed to be all about. You go to Tampa, you get a big win, a blowout win. I mean, 19 points counts as a blowout. That's a blowout.
You're about to shut the. That's when you're about to shut the Xbox off, and you're like,
exactly.
It's not 21.
Exactly.
It's not. Bro, I whooped you, bro.
Exactly. You take that into West Virginia. You spend a week excited and building momentum off of that game. I agree. Like, you lose Singleton, and all of a sudden that you had the ball rolling down the hill, but all of a sudden it just stops because of that. I'm still taking the Broncos.
All right.
I think they found something. I think 65-0? No. There's don't need to pander to Alex.
No, he get you now. Huh?
What you gonna do? Just inside my way.
Wow. He would kill me if I was the one who said that. Give me. Well, I feel like this one's weird. Give me 19-16 Broncos. Big day for Will Lutz.
All right.
Big day for Will Lutz. We already got Zach's prediction. He had the 17-16 Broncos. What's our K guy? Oh, you already have it up there. 28-10 Jets beat the Broncos. Hopefully that doesn't get back to the locker room, because that reminds me of something I said a couple weeks ago, and they were not happy. All right, we've got our picks for the rest of the AFC West here. Maybe get a little time to circle back to the Broncos. We already have our Broncos picks in. We also have the Chiefs at the Chargers, an AFC West matchup. Do the Chargers have any chance here?
Chiefs are 3-0. Chargers are not.
True. There we go.
I think the Chargers are trying to figure it out still. They lost last week, and I don't think that they were prepared for that game, because I feel like they should have won. But the Chiefs are a hard team to face.
Yeah.
And I think it's Harbaugh's first time facing them in a long time. I think they probably win the second matchup. But for this matchup, I'll probably take the Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, it's really tough to take anybody against the Chiefs at this point.
Yeah.
I picked against them because they don't have Isaiah Pacheco anymore.
And Samaje is.
I know. I know. And they're just pounding the rock up the middle the entire second half. And you're like, well, that's what happens when the defense is scared of the pass. You know, like that's what happens. You just get those massive running lanes. You get that first step.
So Samaje was this good the whole time. So it was never Samaje. That's
It was
he
always Russell Wilson. I'm telling you.
So that's the thing. Like that's the tough thing about being in like certain systems is like even as a linebacker, if you're putting me in positions where I can't be my best or I can't like make the plays I want to make, or my D line is getting pushed around, I got guys like, you know what I'm saying, right in front of me, and I'm trying to get around to make plays, as opposed to having a dominant D line I can just scrape over the top. It's very different.
Yep.
So now Samaje goes somewhere where they're getting a little bit more push, you know, from the O-line.
Yep.
They're a little bit more spread out because you got to be alert to Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice. Like, they have to give all these guys their credit, so they change defenses. So now there's space to run in the middle. So now I look like I'm back prime Samaje Perine,
Exactly.
but he never left.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's one of those things. As a former linebacker myself,
Yes.
I got moved to the secondary when I stopped. I wasn't
hitting?
wasn't the most physical player. Wasn't the biggest guy. But I think 5th grade was my last year playing linebacker. You know, as us linebackers.
So you got – when did you start?
Tackle 4th grade. Flag football since like kindergarten.
So since flag, you were a linebacker.
The flag is the positions aren't as important
They're
in flag,
fluid.
you know. Yeah, so
You're
I
like-
believe so. Also, my memory not so great when it comes to kindergarten. But yeah, as us linebackers are taught, first step backwards. You know.
No.
Shit. Maybe that's just me. Well, what I was
don't
taught when
know
I was a
if I was taught
linebacker,
that way.
first step backwards because you know it's a lot tougher to recover from moving forwards to then go backwards.
That's why
shout-
you're still not a linebacker.
Yeah.
Shout
I
out
know.
to coaches and going falls on tip. Maybe that was my issue.
Yeah, I think that- yeah.
Point is, when you're playing the Chiefs, that first step backwards that maybe they don't take, a lot bigger because you're worried about Patrick Mahomes. Like it's just so, I would imagine, tough to commit to going forward when you know it's Patrick Mahomes over there. Like it's just insane. Like it makes it so easy to run. I started this tangent because in just about every stat, the Chargers defense is top 10 against the run this year. I mean, and I think they're 3rd in points allowed overall, 6th in yards allowed. This defense is really good. I just don't think it matters. You can be as tough as you want in the trenches, and I think they can just throw the ball past you regardless. It's the Chiefs, and I'm feeling a little bit defeated. Also, potentially no Justin Herbert. Or it sounds like he's going to play, but potentially.
And I do feel like the Chargers have had the best team to beat the Chiefs, and they've been the only ones to really beat the Chiefs in the past couple of years. But if you get the Chiefs in a tight game, I mean, 3 to 7 points isn't enough for them to, like, you know, they'll find a way to win.
Yeah. And, you know, that second half where they were able to run, I honestly think the Chargers might be able to stop that this week, and that could get them another stop at some point. But still, I mean, even if the Falcons had scored at the end, are they getting the ball back? Like, are you giving Mahomes a chance? Like, the Falcons didn't even put the Chiefs in that do or die situation.
Yeah.
So, you've got to go Chiefs here. We already have the others. Oh, we all picked the Chiefs. That's real fun. And
then the Browns and the Raiders.
Looks like the Zach and RK both have the Browns beating the Raiders. What do you think?
I'm going to take the Raiders.
I am too.
Yeah. I think their head coach was pretty pissed off about that last game and the business decisions, you know, guys are making. And all he was talking about there was just, you know, not throwing your body into the pile, protecting yourself, and not, you know what I'm saying, make the plays you need to make for the team. So I look for them to be a little bit more physical and a little bit more on edge to make those plays this game. So I think the Raiders will beat the Browns. The Browns aren't
They're not good.
a really good team to me. Deshaun has some stuff he's still got to figure out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, to say the least. It's just one of those things. To me, Deshaun looks like he's just done. He looks like it's show up, take the paycheck, no, probably not getting another contract after this.
Nope.
And you just don't get yourself hurt. Don't give yourself any like brain damage. You're going to live a great life starting here in about 3 years after you take whatever beating you have to. And again, it probably deserves to not be the most well-liked guy out there. So you show up, you collect your checks, you go buy your yacht, and the next
you just
30
float.
Exactly. Like
Float on.
he seems ready to float on. It kind of sucks because I really enjoyed watching the Browns last year. Like when Flacco came in, he gave them life. like what he was able to do with Amari Cooper was incredible. It just shows you how good of a receiver Amari Cooper really was. Because if you're a veteran quarterback, you know how to just give a guy a chance. Like you have a true number one. He's getting man coverage. You know, Michael Irvin talked about this a few years ago when he was playing with Troy Aikman. Basically, he just knew if it's man coverage, there's like 4 different routes. So it could be the slant, could be the comeback, could be the go. And you just, before the snap, you see which one you like and you run it. And Joe Flacco, for all of his faults, he knows how to use a number one receiver. And it's just the talent being wasted with the Browns right now is sad. Like Myles Garrett, I've seen a bunch of clips online last week from his last game where he's just manhandling double teams and getting to the quarterback regardless. It just doesn't matter because of the energy drain that they have with Deshaun Watson.
Yep. Imagine how hated you have to be for Flacco to be the life of the party.
Yeah, totally. He breathed life into the Cleveland Browns.
Real quick, Henry had me do a poll.
Oh, yeah, I did.
The question was, who should replace Alex Singleton? Kwon Alexander comes in with 20%, Zach Cunningham with 7%, and leading the way with 73%, it's Todd Davies.
Wow.
Recent name change I did just a couple of days ago.
Yeah. Second career.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it right now. I got it.
All right. We've got about 3 minutes left before we got to get out of here. Keys... Oh, 2 super... Let's hit those first. Our guy, Greg, we love Greg, says, I'm personally hoping Justin Strnad gets the start. Great during preseason, has been waiting for his shot, especially how he does in coverage. LFG.
Yeah.
I'm not good at reading these because my eyes are so bad.
It's a lot harder than people think.
I know, but it just makes me look stupid. It makes me look like I can't read.
It makes you look like you're trying.
Like I'm over
a
here
bit too
squinting,
hard.
trying to it's not
but
great.
it's far. We're far from TV.
We're really far.
But
Small
I
TV.
agree, man. I think Justin Strnad he played really good coming back from his injury early in training camp, and he was like surprising a lot of people with how well he was in coverage and how many plays he was able to make in the run game. I mean, he wasn't a slouch in the run game either. So I hope he gets a chance. I know he got a chance 3 years ago to kind of be the guy. But I think since
like a quarter maybe or something.
Yeah, a short period of time. Then he got injured, and I know he's matured a lot. I think he's ready for another opportunity, man. I think he will do good. So let's see what he does.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me a lot of PJ Locke. One of your best special teams players, has been around for a while, knows what he's doing, and you give him a chance because again, in the preseason he looked incredible.
Yeah,
that last game, the hits he was laying, the way we know he can play in coverage. I mean, you've got a really good athlete who's really smart, and he looked physical too. So I would at some point this season you got to get him on the field for at least 3 games and just see how he does because that could be your answer. Brandon, a super chat. I'm saving this episode for Sunday when I'm running the Boulder Marathon. Wow. Well, he better go fast if this is going to kill us time.
Because how far is a marathon?
26.3 miles.
That's so far to run. I've never been a mile guy. I could run sprints, and I'll work hard to be my best. If we want to run 15 sprints, we want to run 20 sprints, I'm down. Like, I'm going to get after it. More than a mile, I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, even now, I'll hop on the treadmill and like I'll start running. Like, it gets to like 0.78. I'm like, all right, when it gets to a mile, I'm done. Like, that's it. I'm not going.
That's not really what you're built for.
No,
you're a
I don't
linebacker.
think so. Yeah, I think I'm.
He's built for the burst and the quickness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You need 15 steps straight ahead. Exactly. Wow. I wonder if I could beat you in a mile.
No. No. Either.
I know.
I'm not gonna let that happen. So I don't care like what I have to do. I'm winning the mile. You know what I'm saying?
That's when I was playing lacrosse in high school. One of the coaches didn't think I was in as good a shape as I could have been, and he was like, "Okay, we're going to the gym, and we're gonna keep doing this until you run a mile in under 6.5 minutes." I was like, "Okay." So we went to the gym. First one, like 6:18. I was like, there we go. So
you were done?
I doubt I could still do 6:18, but I mean, I could keep it under 7. I bet.
All right.
Yeah.
It's also, I love this comment from TBD 007 today, Junior.
Okay, you have 10 seconds to answer this question. The Broncos win if That's a waste of time. That's a waste of time. That's a waste of time. They might be screwed.
Yeah.
Is that what we just learned?
No, they're not screwed. They win if Bidet has 125 yards.
Okay, there we go. We'll be back for the pregame show half hour before the game. Me and Todd. Is there a guest?
Maybe
A guest. So stay tuned for that. And also Draft Pod starts here in 30 minutes. So we'll see you then.
We all silly like the mayor.